Your toddler finishes a puzzle. They look up at you. You smile and say, "Good job." Then they put in another piece and look up again. Then another. And again, they check your face. At first, this feels adorable, and it is. Toddlers naturally look to adults for connection, safety, and encouragement. But here is the question many parents never think to ask. Is my child enjoying the puzzle or performing for my reaction? This video is not about shaming parents for saying, "Good job." Every parent says it. The real question is, what kind of praise builds motivation and what kind of praise quietly makes children depend on approval? Research on child motivation gives us a more balanced answer than the internet usually does. Praise can support children, but generic, constant, or person-focused praise can sometimes pull a child's attention away from curiosity and toward performance. And for toddlers, that difference matters. Because toddlers are not just learning how to build towers, draw circles, or put shoes on. They are learning what effort means. They are learning what mistakes mean. They are learning whether trying feels satisfying from the inside or only valuable when someone claps from the outside. Let's be clear, praise is not the enemy. Children need warmth, they need encouragement, they need adults who notice them. The CDC even recommends giving toddlers attention and praise for positive behavior as part of positive parenting. So the problem is not that you praised your child. The problem is when praise becomes automatic. The toddler puts on one sock. Good job. They take one bite. Good job. They draw one line. Good job. They climb one step. Good job. After a while, the words can become background noise. And sometimes, instead of helping the child notice what they did, generic praise only tells them what the adult thinks. The child does not hear, "I solved something." They hear, "Mom is pleased. I got approval. Do that again." That can be useful when you're teaching safety or routines, but during play, problem-solving, creativity, and learning, too much approval-based feedback may shift the child's focus away from the process. And the process is where motivation grows. Imagine your toddler is drawing. They are not trying to win anything. They are exploring. They press the crayon harder. They notice the color gets darker. They switch hands. They make a strange loop. They laugh. This is intrinsic motivation. It means the activity itself feels interesting. The child is doing it because it feels satisfying, not because someone promised a sticker, a cookie, or applause. Now imagine that every 30 seconds an adult says, "Good job. That's beautiful. You're such a good artist." At first, the child may smile, but slowly the activity can change. The drawing is no longer just a discovery, it becomes something to be judged. Is this good? Do they like it? Am I doing it right? That is the reward paradox. A reward meant to encourage the child can sometimes make the child less connected to the activity itself. This idea is supported by research on extrinsic rewards and intrinsic motivation, although the effect depends on the type of reward, the context, and the child. Tangible, expected rewards are especially likely to reduce free choice intrinsic motivation. Verbal praise is more nuanced and can help when it feels informational rather than controlling. So the message is not never praise. The message is, praise should not steal the child's attention from their own experience. There's a big difference between praising the child as a person and noticing the child's process. Person praise sounds like, "You're so smart. You're such a good girl. You're a natural. You're the best." Process praise sounds like, "You kept trying. You found a new way. You used both hands to balance the blocks. You looked carefully before choosing that piece." Studies with children have found that praising fixed traits like intelligence can lead children to care more about looking smart and less about learning. In a well-known set of studies, children praised for intelligence showed more performance-focused responses than children praised for effort. Another study found that young children showed more helpless responses after person-focused praise or criticism than after process-focused feedback. Why? Because if success means I am smart, then failure can feel like I am not smart. If success means I am good, then mistakes can feel like I am bad. That is a heavy emotional load for a little child. But if success means I tried a strategy, I kept going, I changed my plan, then a mistake is not a threat to the child's identity. It is information. That is a completely different mindset. Toddlers do not just hear our words. Over time, they borrow them. Our words become part of how they talk to themselves. A toddler who often hears, "You're so smart," may start to wonder, "Do I still look smart if this gets hard?" A toddler who hears, "You kept trying different ways," may start to think, "I can try another way." This is why early praise matters. One longitudinal study found that process praise given to 1 to 3-year-olds predicted children's motivational frameworks 5 years later. In another follow-up study, process praise to toddlers predicted later academic achievement indirectly through children's beliefs about whether abilities can grow. That does not mean one phrase determines a child's future. No single "good job" ruins motivation, but patterns matter. Tiny repeated messages can shape what children learn to notice. Do they notice the adult's approval, or do they notice their own effort? Sometimes the most powerful parenting move is not another compliment. It is a pause. Your toddler is trying to zip a jacket. They struggle. You want to jump in. You want to say, "Good job." You want to fix it. But instead, you wait. You watch. You give them space to feel the struggle and the progress. Then you say, "You're working on that zipper." Not "good job." Not "you're amazing." Just, "you're working on it." This kind of language is sometimes called sportscasting. You describe what is happening without judging it. You turned the piece around. You tried the big block first. You noticed it didn't fit. You are checking again. To an adult, this may sound boring. To a toddler, it can be powerful because it helps them pay attention to their own actions. It says, "I see you," but it does not take over the experience. It keeps the child connected to the task, and that is where focus grows. Now, let's be careful. Silence does not mean ignoring your child. Toddlers need responsive adults. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child describes serve and return interactions as back-and-forth exchanges that help shape healthy brain development. So this is not about becoming cold, distant, or withholding. It is about choosing the kind of response that supports learning. Sometimes that response is a smile. Sometimes it is eye contact. Sometimes it is sitting nearby. Sometimes it is a simple observation. Sometimes it is warm praise. The goal is not less love. The goal is less performance pressure. Here are 5 replacements. Number 1, you kept trying. This points to perseverance. Number 2, you found a way to make it work. This points to problem solving. Number 3, you used careful hands. This points to self-control and skill. Number 4, you looked really focused. This helps the child notice attention. Number 5, how did you do that? This invites reflection. You can also use simple observations. You stacked 4 blocks. You mixed blue and yellow. You put your shoes by the door. You waited for your turn. These phrases are not magic. They work because they shift the child's attention back to something useful. Their effort, their choices, their strategy, their progress. You do not need to ban "good job" from your house. That would be unrealistic. Sometimes your child runs to the potty for the first time and "good job" comes out because you are genuinely delighted. That is human. The goal is not perfect parenting. The goal is more intentional parenting. Use praise warmly. Use it honestly. Use it specifically. Instead of "good job," try "good job putting the toys back in the basket. That helped clean the room." Instead of "you're so smart," try "you remembered the shape and tried again." Instead of "you're the best artist," try "you used so many colors and stayed with it for a long time." The difference is subtle, but subtle is where parenting often lives. Every toddler is asking 3 quiet questions. Do you see me? Am I safe when I make mistakes? Is trying still worth it when something is hard? The way we respond can help answer those questions. Generic praise says, "I like the result." Process praise says, "I see your effort." Observation says, "I am with you while you learn." And curiosity says, "Your thinking matters." That is how we help children build motivation that does not depend only on applause. Not by removing encouragement, but by making encouragement more meaningful. So the next time your toddler looks up after finishing a puzzle, you can smile, you can connect. And instead of automatically saying "good job," you might say, "You kept turning the pieces until one fit." Then pause. Let them feel it. Because the goal is not to raise a child who constantly asks, "Was that good?" The goal is to raise a child who can think, "I worked on that. I figured something out. I want to try again." If this helped you see your toddler's behavior in a new way, subscribe to Childhood Examined, for calm, science-backed explanations of child psychology, emotions, behavior, and development, so everyday parenting moments start to make more sense.